News at 11 begins with breaking news, a big announcement and big questions about who's in charge of D.C. police.
3 days ago, President Trump named Terry Cole head of the DEA to lead the federal takeover of the D.C. Police Department. But Mayor Muriel Bowser maintained the police force would still answer to Chief Pamela Smith. Well, now within the past 2 hours, Attorney General Pam Bondi has granted Terry Cole, quote, the powers and duties vested in the District of Columbia Chief of Police. Now,
Bondi says the police department must get Cole's approval before issuing any orders. So what role that leaves for Chief Smith? Well, that's not clear at the moment. Sources tell us D.C. leaders were caught off guard by this announcement as well. So we're working to get some answers tonight.
All of this is taking place with Mayor Bowser out of town tonight. She left to pick up her daughter from an out-of-state camp and says she plans to return tomorrow. A lot to get to, and we thank you for staying up with us. I'm Leslie Foster.
And I'm Lorenzo Hall. As we deal with more federal agents on our streets, there are serious questions about safety, your rights, and how long this could last. Here are 3 things you need to know right now at 11 o'clock. This is still a 24/7 operation, so at all hours, expect more lights, more uniforms, and more stops in different communities. D.C. leaders are still urging you to understand your rights and also what's considered unlawful. Lastly, we're following along as federal officials begin targeting homeless encampments tonight. The White House says people who don't leave could be fined and thrown in jail.
We've got another night of team coverage to answer your questions. Our reporters are spread across several neighborhoods in the city. We begin, though, with our Katie Lusso, who is live at one of those encampments in Washington Circle. Katie?
Yeah, and Leslie and Lorenzo, I want to talk about 2 things happening behind me. On one side of me, you see police lights. These are federal investigators, but I also want to talk about this white truck right here. Now, I spoke to the people inside, and they were able to tell me that they're essentially helping to pick up some of the people who are experiencing homelessness that are encountering the federal agents tonight, and they're going around and taking them and transporting them to various shelters that they have been notified there is space at. But let's take you across the street. So this particular group of federal agents, we've been really keeping tabs on them tonight, following them from spot to spot. We've watched this particular group of federal officers stop at several different spots in Georgetown, near the White House, and even in Foggy Bottom. I want to be clear, though, we have not seen this group of officers make any arrests tonight. What we have seen is them going up to people experiencing homelessness, asking them how long they've been staying there, if they have somewhere else they could go, and in one instance, we heard them let the person know that they will be coming back with what they said were resources for them, although they did not specify exactly what that meant or when. But I want you to take a look at some video that we got just in the last 2 hours when we were kind of shadowing these officers, seeing what they were up to and where they were going. You can see in the video several officers holding up flashlights as they approached people who were inside of tents. Now, this was right near L and 26th Streets in Northwest. And again, you see those officers walking along a fence. They are then going into the park and talking to various people who were inside of the various tents. At one point, we could hear one of the officers identifying herself as U.S. Park Police. We could clearly see that some of the other officers were wearing vests that said FBI on them. Now, this is all part of the president's ongoing efforts to, quote, clean up D.C., a phrase that has really struck a nerve for activists.
First of all, you don't clean up D.C. by throwing people in jail. That's shameful. And he doesn't have a long-term plan. I don't think he's able to think long-term. He is doing what authoritarians do, which is rounding up people he doesn't like to see. And we know the solution to homelessness, it's housing and support. If he actually cared about helping people who live outside, he would fund housing and support, but instead he just proposed a budget that got funding for housing. He doesn't care about helping people. He cares about demonizing people, and he cares about blaming people for sleeping outside in a city where the cost of a 1-bedroom apartment is $2,300.
So as you can see behind me, that van is now gone. We did not see anybody get into the van, so clearly nobody was taken from this location. I also, again, want to mention that we did not see any arrests while we were following these officers around tonight. But again, we have seen them talking to people. We know that there's already been some announcements here to some of the people living in these tents that they have to be out of here by Monday. So this is something we will continue to follow on. In Washington Circle, I'm Katie Lusso. Back to you.
It is reassuring to see those community groups stepping up to help those in need tonight. Katie, thank you.
And tonight, communities are coming together to voice some strong opposition to the federal takeover of the city's police force. Our Kelly Vaughn is live in Mount Pleasant, where residents have a clear and emotional message for law enforcement.
That's right. I've been talking with people here tonight in Mount Pleasant who tell me they've been living in fear, especially after today when D.C. police announced their increased cooperation with ICE. You can see the poster that's been put up here. It says Mount Pleasant melts ice. Now they tell me despite these fears, they gathered here tonight to make sure that their voices were heard.
Tonight is about joy, it's about resistance, it's about freedom.
Isaías Guerrero, co-director of El Poder del Pueblo, or Power of the People, says they're gathering in the heart of Mount Pleasant to celebrate their culture and send a message they're not going anywhere.
DC is currently around facing an occupation by a force that is not necessary, a force that is creating stress, fear, and mistrust.
Everyone in Mount Pleasant is super united in the message of unity, and we want these people to get the hell out of DC.
Noelia Izarza says no one in her community should live in fear of being racially profiled, arrested, or deported.
The police and ICE has been all over the neighborhood, and the neighbors have come out and tell them, you guys need to go.
Local organizations and community leaders also came together Thursday to strategize how to keep the peace as the federal law enforcement presence grows.
It's frustrating to be in a city and a community that you've been in for years, some of us our entire lives, and to be seen as a threat first, or a suspect first and a person second.
Greg Jackson, the former deputy director for the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, says building safety means investing in people.
And so what's frustrating about this is, as opposed to investing in what we know works to prevent violence and healthier quality lifestyle, the Band-Aid they throw at it is violence. It's law enforcement, it's police.
Now, aside from tonight's gathering, people here in Mount Pleasant say the streets have felt a bit quieter as people are afraid of the ICE activity. The president has said that this crackdown on crime should increase business. It should make people feel safer to shop and dine in the district. But here they say there's been a chilling effect. People are afraid to go out. They're afraid to go to work, which has had a major impact on businesses in the area. Reporting live from Mount Pleasant, Kelly Vaughn, WUSA 9.
Maybe some unintended consequences there, Kelly. All right, thank you. As more federal officers show up around the city, immigration-related arrests are on the rise too.
Yeah, today DC Police Chief Pamela Smith issued a new directive calling for increased cooperation with immigration enforcement. Officers, they wasted no time. Our Rafael Sanchez Cruz caught them making one arrest earlier today.
It was just before 11 a.m. in Columbia Heights.
¿Qué motivo te dieron?
A food delivery driver is put in handcuffs by several federal agents. I asked the man what reason he was given for his arrest. He responds, "They're taking me away." Neighbors reminding the man that he has the right to remain silent. This witness asked the federal agents what was happening. They asked her if she worked with news and told her to step back.
Are you news or something? That's why Will news get a better answer?
Yeah, as soon as we're done conducting our investigation, we'll be able to fill you guys in a little bit more.
But they left without giving us any answer. These women tell me he's a delivery driver who works every day outside the restaurant where they work. They tell me he's humble and hardworking.
This is racial profiling at its finest.
Jose Guzman says he believes the DC government is not protecting its immigrant communities when they need to the most.
We as citizens of the district need to speak up, and we need to stand up for those who are not protected in the city.
The incident prompting the response from immigration advocates.
Here today passing out these red cards, which on the one hand remind people of their constitutional rights, and on the other hand provide something that they can share with immigration to assert and remind immigration of their rights.
This arrest happening hours after DC Police Chief Pamela Smith issued an order that allows for the partial cooperation between her officers and federal immigration officials. The order allows DC police to provide information about people who are not in police custody and for the local police to transport immigration employees.
You're in an unmarked car right now.
DC neighbors were outraged that officers didn't identify their agency, some even concealing their faces.
The federal agent who's of course hiding his face, for whatever reason, and then you see MPD kind of swooping in here and then impounding the motorbikes, and so it does feel like obviously they're working complicitly in this situation.
Here are DC police and federal agents conducting a traffic citation minutes earlier.
Rafael Sanchez Cruz, WUSA 9.
And this is just into our newsroom. The National Guard confirms that as of 8 a.m., 815 guardsmen are on duty in D.C. They're in standard camouflage uniforms with a D.C. guard patch featuring the Capitol dome. We are told they are not armed, they have no weapons in their vehicles, and they are residents who live and serve in the district. The former Department of Justice employee accused of tossing a Subway sandwich at a federal officer was back in court today.
Yeah, 37-year-old Shawn Dunn was released without having to post bail, and you might remember the whole thing was caught on camera and then posted to Instagram.
Prosecutors say they're now pushing for felony assault charges, which come with some serious time. We get the latest from Matt Gregory.
It's the seriousness of the charges leveled against Shawn Dunn that makes the judge's decision so unusual. When you're talking about a felony assault charge in federal court that could put someone in prison up to 8 years, normally you wouldn't see a defendant get released, certainly not on their own recognizance. But Shawn Dunn's attorney says this was a legal victory for him, and she has questions about how the arrest happened last night. Court documents and video show what prosecutors say happened Sunday night near 14th and U Street. They allege Dunn verbally confronted federal officers, then threw his Subway sandwich at one of them at close range.
In retrospect, he's going to say, hey, why did I do that? But at the time, mentally, he's like, hey, this is my city. Don't want you here.
Police arrested Dunn, and according to court records, he admitted, quote, I did it. I threw the sandwich.
It's tragic.
He appeared in D.C. Superior Court Monday, where a judge released him. But on Wednesday, federal prosecutors issued a new arrest warrant charging him with felony assault in federal court. Now, inside the courtroom, Dunn's attorney said he tried to turn himself in, but received no response from the DOJ. She claims 20 officers later came to his home to arrest him. The attorney also revealed Dunn served in the U.S. Air Force, which was a fact prosecutors didn't appear to know, and that he had been working for the DOJ until he was fired this week. Now, his attorney also argued that no one was injured and questioned whether this incident meets the standard for such a serious felony charge. The judge agreed to release Dunn pending his next court date, but it's a case that has sparked debate across the city.
That's too bad. You shouldn't do this. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do this.
No. So why do you think that?
Well, I mean, he's not supposed to do that. It's against the law officers.
So now Shawn Dunn is due back in court on September 4th for his preliminary hearing in federal court. Outside of the federal courthouse in D.C., I'm Matt Gregory, WUSA 9.
Of course, we'll be following every twist and turn in this Trump takeover coverage. It's streaming right now on WUSA 9+. You can download the app for your smart TV and watch it anytime for free.